For today's cup of coffee, we're going to be talking about Christmas ghost story tradition.
Okay.
And I actually wrote this one on some of it, but took bits and pieces from, I will list all of the sources there in the description box. They came from Big Think and Molly Hanson, also Deseret News, Jeffrey Peterson, got Smithsonian Magazine, Kat Eschner, and also from Smithsonian Magazine, Colin, Dickey. And those were some of the sources that I used.
Colin Dickey.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a tragic name.
That is.
There truly is.
That is very, very tragic.
Anyhow, It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year by Andy Williams includes the lyrics, "There'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago." Okay, but what does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of these songs we sing and we have no clue. We just sing it and we don't think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, aren't ghost stories supposed to be a Halloween thing?
I don't think so. I don't think that is exclusive to Halloween. I think that's
Well,
basically an all-year-round thing when everyone's gathered by the fire.
Well, and you know, and maybe we just figured it was goth thing that we do that all year long, so... And actually, ghost stories belong in some ways more to Christmas than Halloween in times past. And, all right, we've already discussed about how Yule and its traditions became those of Christmas as Christianity spread throughout the Germanic cultures. That they just, it's like, okay, keep doing what you're doing. We're just going to put a label on it.
Okay.
That happened lots.
Party.
And there are those who once believed that since winter solstice was the longest night of the year, it was easier for spirits to walk the earth, even though the winter solstice actually celebrates the return of the light. Because that night is the longest, but the one after, little by little, the light comes back.
Thank God.
Really. Evergreen, holly, and other plants that don't lose their color in winter, those are reminders of life even during times of darkness and cold. And while the Yule log gave off a brilliant glow and warmth, to those who were on the edge of the light, the shadows were long, dark, and took on a life of their own. So, for those of us who grew up with electricity and light at the flick of a switch, we can't truly understand what it was to live day to day and night to night with only a small flame to keep the darkness at bay. And even those who like to camp and be outdoors know in the back of their minds that at any point they can run back to the safety of a brightly lit civilization.
Yeah.
You were going to say?
I was going to say we could experiment with that. Like, we go like a week without all electronics and all power and just use candles.
It's called winter.
Books. We still got power during winter for the most part.
Oh, it's a La Nina year. So where we've got mild right now, usually the big stuff hits when it's supposed to be getting spring.
You put those words back right now. You put them back. You put it back.
There was one time that we had, it was a, I'm trying to think, it was a nor'easter that came through in April. Snow mid-calf on me. Yeah.
That's a lot of snow.
It was a blizzard.
I know there was one year I built a snow mountain right outside my window, and I opened my window and jumped out, and it froze to ice, and I knocked the wind out of myself doing that.
When was this?
This was years ago. That was when I was still living in the craft room.
Okay. It wasn't a craft room then, it was a bedroom.
Yeah.
You had to tell people that.
Yeah, it was then a bedroom.
Yeah.
we since turned it into... It used to be my brother's bedroom, but we since then turned it into a craft room.
Yeah. Most of us today don't have to fear the howls of wolves in the distance, or worse, the sound close to their doors.
Unless you live in the mountains and you have to worry about wolves and such like that.
Well, you've got these people that they have tried to Disneyfy everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they have no clue what it used to be like, truly. We've forgotten the struggles of those who came before to provide heat, shelter, and food for themselves and their families year-round, especially in winter. And most of us also have the luxury of visiting a doctor if sickness comes, rather than watching loved ones suffer and often die as those in the past did.
Right.
Because that was not, there was a lot of people that, especially in winter, that they would get these illnesses. It's just like now, because viruses stay in the air, they stay more active in cold.
Yes.
Instead of warm. Sunlight disinfects.
It does.
And in today's world, we have also put away the reality of death and the stages of life that leads to it, preferring the illusion of perpetual youth and the folly it often carries. And in centuries before the Victorian era, most were too busy trying to survive day to day to worry about finding ways to amuse themselves. But with the Industrial Revolution, the size of cities increased, and all that comes with an urban environment. For the upper class in Victorian England, there was a greater need for social gatherings, which included amusement in the form of games and storytelling. Now, memento mori has always been present and reminds us to make each day count, but it took on an artistic turn in the Victorian era with photos of the dead becoming popular, in addition to weaving locks of hair of the dead into different shapes, such as floral arrangements, which could be framed and shared.
Yeah, those are very popular, and oh my God.
Now, the Victorian era, let's face it.
When you think about it now, it's kind of horrifying and grotesque.
It was memento mori, but it was more than just having a coin with a skull's head on it.
Yeah.
I mean, they got into the macabre.
They did.
And
how cool, though, would that have been to live in that era? To see that, like, for real.
Yeah.
Like, to see that stuff in just people's houses,
I think it would be kind of odd. I mean, those things, that's why they're in these odd museums. Yeah, that was sort of a common thing. Okay, so it's not surprising that Christmas ghost stories really surged in popularity during this time. And of course, one of the most famous of these ghost stories was written by Charles Dickens in A Christmas Carol, which is a wonderful story of redemption, but it's seldom referred to as such. Because everybody remembers Scrooge as he was, not as he became.
But that's what most people do. Most people don't think of how they are, of how people are now. They just think of what they saw like X amount of years ago.
Right. There's always going to be somebody somewhere that's going to drag up your past. Mm-hmm. And that's
when you throw your middle finger up and you're like, fuck you, people can change, and you are not the same person, so who are you to point a finger at?
Exactly. And I will tell you, in the churches, and there's been many of them over the years that I have attempted to attend, they are some of the worst to do that. That you will have somebody come in, and instead of helping somebody, that they will be counting down. It's like, I will give them this amount of time before they revert. Well, where are you to try to help make sure these people don't revert?
Exactly.
So, anyhow, with that,
he who is without sin shall cast the first stone.
Right, exactly, and that was one of those. But in this story, Dickens makes those who could afford books at the time aware of the hardships of others, including children, who still faced death by starvation, cold, and harsh work conditions. It also serves as a warning to those who would accumulate wealth at the expense of others. He also wrote Oliver Twist.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Absolutely, because he wrote about what was going on during the time in which he lived. Mm-hmm. Which was kind of, I'd like some more, please.
That was a tragic story.
Oh, it was a tragic time.
Yeah.
But now, Dickens, he's just an impeccable writer. I mean, just amazing. And now, Dickens wasn't the only one to write winter ghost tales. Edgar Allan Poe's most famous poem, The Raven, includes the lines, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor.
Jesus Christ.
And Colin, the man with the sad name, Colin Dickey, writing for Smithsonian Magazine in 2017, makes a plea to resurrect the tradition of Christmas ghost stories, and I agree wholeheartedly. And because that we will sit in, we do ghost stories quite frequently. We really do.
Yeah.
You know, it's
They're
more
fun.
of an oral tradition that we do instead of necessarily some of the other things. I do not consider the modern Christmas slasher films. That is just no.
Have you ever watched Jack Frost? Like the horror movie Jack Frost?
No.
You talk about it's rough. Like, it's a B film. And basically it's a snowman
Right.
killing people.
Oh God.
Same for the Ginger Dead Man.
Now, why does someone feel the need to do that? That's not.
Why would someone make a film called The Evil Bong?
Well, at least that wasn't a Christmas theme. So, and they had the Evil Bong too. It became a series, didn't it?
There was multiple films. There was also Evil Bong versus something. I don't remember what it was, but it was. Those films are funny, but they're.
I haven't, because there were some of them that I could start on and I'm like, no.
But Jack Frost basically goes within the genre of films. Those are in bad B-movie horror slasher stuff.
I don't know. I think that some of those are trying to take away the magic of Christmas, because even the movie trailers, and if kids see those and stuff, and it's just...
Yeah.
It seems like anything and everything is trying to take away the beauty and innocence of childhood.
I mean, think of Krampus.
I haven't got to that. We're going to. That's on a coming cup.
But that became a movie too.
Yeah, but that tradition has been around for a long time. It's just been recently that he's become rather more popular. And I mean, I had an individual that told me about Krampus many years ago. I had never heard of him, and I thought, that is just so cool.
Personally, I'm over modern horror films anyway, so.
It's like when again, there's no thought put into it. It's just gore. It's more ways of making more gore, and after you've seen that, you've seen it. It's the difference between somebody that's a stripper and somebody that's a burlesque dancer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got to leave something to the imagination.
Yeah. Yeah.
So within this, I don't like the modern horror genre. Some of the modern horror writers, the same, because there's no thought. You show me a writer today, anybody. I mean, seriously, if there is anyone out there that has the talent of Charles Dickens, or who has the talent of Edgar Allan Poe, you know, I seriously would like to know about them. Now, you know, the quotes that I put at the end of these videos and stuff, mostly where I get those is from the website Goodreads, and that people contribute different quotes and stuff from books that they've read. Mm-hmm. And when I first started using the site many years ago, it was wonderful because you still had quotes from, the Stoics and the classics and different things like that. And now it has been overrun by modern writers who can't write a sentence without having a 4-letter word, and where we use sentence enhancers we can speak without them, and we can write without them. And the classics have been replaced by something that, again, there's no thought put behind a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Even as far as some of these articles, what do? They go to somebody else's website, they steal the article, they claim it as their own, they go on. Some of them are well written, some of them are really not.
Creepypasta.
Well, I think the creepypastas, and now that is...
some of them are horribly
But you know
written.
what?
A lot of
That
them are
is
horribly written.
more in the line of the ghost stories that we're talking about. Even if it's people...
I mean, basically is modern, ghost storytelling.
Right. It's just a different campfire. Mm-hmm. And they had to learn how to tell stories somehow.
Yeah.
So even the ones that are struggling to tell the story, maybe they're young writers, Mm-hmm. And as far as the oral traditions that thousands of years old, even beyond Yule, that people gathered, at the campfire or whatever that they had, and they listened to the storytellers. And that there were only a few that could do it, that they chose the ones that had the ability to carry the tales for the next generation.
Yeah.
The other ones knew the stories, but not everybody could tell the stories. And I don't know, have you ever gone to some of the festivals where they had the actual storytellers?
Never got a chance.
Oh, that is a dying art form, which is really sad because that is part of Appalachian culture. Mm-hmm. And we're losing so much because people, as far as like the TVs and the different things like that. Now, I will say that with some of the media, like, on the YouTubes and the BitChutes and even the Odysseys and everything like that, you still have the ability to listen to people who do have great storytelling abilities. Mm-hmm. Because you're not going to see that on TV for the most part.
Right.
And that you can learn to do this yourself, that you can practice. Mm-hmm. And with storytelling, it is, that was the reason I loved radio. Because you could be having the worst day of your life, and yet when you would go on the air, it was a matter of that illusion that everything is wonderful in your world. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah.
That's what a good portion of these modern celebrities that we call influencers, like the YouTube creators and such like that, that's what a lot of them do as well. They put on a persona in front of the camera.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a difference on that. There really is a difference. That's the reason that we don't.
No, there is a difference on it, but it's a similarity.
Yeah, I can see that. But when you go to some of the festivals where they have the actual storytellers, mm-hmm. It's not just the voice. It is the movements and stuff. And I know that you don't like this individual on YouTube, but I do. One of the best ones that I have seen in a long time is Mr. Ballin. Mm. He is an excellent storyteller. Now, he's had to modify a lot of it to, with the whoever the censors, they're not called censors anymore. What are they? These people that will jerk down your video for whatever infraction.
Well, that's usually just called the algorithm.
Yeah,
the algorithm is messed up.
Because it doesn't understand, it's not just the words, it's how the words are spoken.
It's an AI. It's programmed to detect certain words or whatever, and and if it hears it, no matter in what context, it will flag it immediately.
Right, and that's really sad because again, it doesn't understand it's not just the word; it is how it is spoken. It is the volume. It is it doesn't understand innuendo.
Yeah,
and that is something that a computer will never be able to understand.
Because at its core, it is binary code.
Right. Because it's not a people, it doesn't have a soul.
Exactly.
So we could tell, scary stories about AI.
There are certain people who can't detect sarcasm either, so what about that?
Well, there are some people that look like people that they have no soul.
Yeah, that's true too.
And it's one of those, we'll wait until after Christmas about the reptilians. Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
Right. I'll wait.
But I think that they're kind of revealing themselves day by day.
Well, it is kind of difficult finding information about them now, so...
It is.
Like back in the day.
That is true. That a lot of this stuff is... there was a time that you could go online and find anything and everything. Didn't matter whether it was credible or not. Mm-hmm. But it was just... I miss the Wild West days of the internet.
I do too. Like, hell, even 2010, it was still technically the Wild West of the internet.
Yeah, and so we need to bring that back.
Yes.
Even...
Hurry up, Generation Alpha.
You're always going to have people that are trolls. You're always going to have people that post horrible things.
Oh, yeah.
But that is the wonderful thing that I like about having my own channel, because if somebody posts a horrible thing, I have the power of delete.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, no, I don't. If somebody wants
that on our channel.
Don't put that
on your channel.
No, I've got enough on my plate. Don't spill out your personal anger on me.
Exactly. I can't tell you, like, when my mom... Sorry, tongue-tied. On my TikTok, the very first video I posted of the story that I made, so many mean comments, even though it said in my bio, this is a story playing out in real time. So many people saying such hurtful things to me.
Right.
And wishing, genuinely wishing ill will towards me. And I'm like, fuck y'all. If y'all are that bitter, just go somewhere else. What happened to, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all? Because the best way to affect a content creator, because interaction is interaction, period. It will get you up there in the algorithm, whether it's good or bad. The way to affect someone is do not interact. Just don't interact with people that you don't like. Period.
And it's like they could be doing something better with their day, but they take the time and the energy and the effort to say something shitty.
It's like they could say shitty to people that are actually doing shitty things.
But you've got to realize a lot of these people have never been taught, especially if they're kids. And that in itself is a scary thing, and it's not yet a ghost story. That's just a scary reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and if you like A Christmas Carol, it is tradition that I will watch it at least once a year, sometimes more than that. My favorite is the one with George C. Scott.
I like the Muppet Christmas Carol.
That's a little bit different, but that's okay. But like I said, the George C. Scott is amazing. Doing the research on this has helped me understand more why that it was, the ghosts and stuff that were in there, what they were doing, what they were showing. But like I said, Scrooge is such a story of redemption. And if anybody says, there's Scrooge, did they say it's a matter of somebody being a miser or being hateful or whatever?
Which version of Scrooge are they? They need to be specific on that. Which version of Scrooge, like the old Scrooge or the new Scrooge?
Right. Or just sit there and look at somebody and go, he changed, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. So let us know your favorite Christmas ghost stories, which ghost stories that you would like to, if you would like to write a Christmas ghost story and send that to us. And if you've had paranormal, supernatural events, encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, good Scrooges, redemption Scrooges.
Yeah.
You've got
scary Christmas stories.
Yeah, if you've got local, regional, family, myths, legends, you very much, if you've got those family legends and stuff, write those down.
Yeah.
And email.
Those need to be documented.
Absolutely, they do, and they need to be shared.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to share them, if you don't want us to mention them during a video, if you just want to share them with us, that's fine. Just let us know.
Yeah.
Send us emails at cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. And thank you for pondering with us, sharing coffee with us. And know that you're loved and that you're not here on this planet by accident.
Yep. Absolutely. No one's here by accident.
Now, if you are a reptilian, we'll pray for you.
I don't know if you can pray for that.
You can pray for
hi,
anything.
If you're a reptilian.
No, it's
wave
like,
your little 3-fingered hand. Wave your tails at us.
I don't know that the reptilians would be watching and listening to stories of redemption.
Let me just study y'all for a second.
I don't. They want to eat our faces. They don't want to study us. They've studied us.
I mean, as long as they give me a new face, I'm good.
No, that's not how that works. Anyhow, you all have a beautiful, blessed day, and we'll see you on the next cup.
Don't forget to like, share, and most of all, comment and subscribe. And click that little bell, even though we post every single day.
What bell?
There's a little notification bell.
Oh, okay.
Right beside the subscribe button.
Oh, that's all right. I guess BitChute does have one of those, don't they?
Well, if you're on YouTube, there's a little bell beside the subscribe button, so.
Anyhow, just thanks for spending some time with us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.